I understood well, FASTCAT-Cloud is a service to upload and analyze all of your nature videos and pictures to a website and get back only the information relevant to you, such as animal activity. And FASTCAT Edge is a do-it-yourself device.
Okay, so yeah, in the FASTCAT Edge world, we will provide. We're exploring different potential solutions. So at the moment, for example, we already provide ways to help you conceive your own camera trap, and it's based on the Raspberry Pi, which is a cheap but yet powerful computing device, which comes with a camera typically, and we tell you how to turn it into a camera trap that you can put in your garden or you can put out there else in the wild. And we provide software that goes with it. We also even provide potential hardware sensors that you can add to the system. So we do a little bit of hardware as well as a provider of solutions. So that's the do-it-yourself part of the solution. But you might be interested only in the software. For example, you may have your own already a camera trap that you use, and you may want to be able to add to it particular AI software with the latest potential of the technology, and that would be also part of FASTCAT Edge. Okay,
great. And will these two services integrate also artificial intelligence to identify the species names?
Yes, so detection. So it's both, you have detection of animals themselves and counting, identification of sub-images, typically a bounding box that is put around where the system thinks there's an animal. That's sort of a first type of information that can be provided with good accuracy and robustness. And then beyond that, then you can also add to that identification of species, so trying to put names associated to these boxes that contain an animal or animals. And that part of the technology is fast improving and keep improving in recent years, and we predict that it will keep improving. So one of the challenge we face and what we want to provide to our community of users is to keep updating the services we provide so that they have access to the best or better and recently developed such AI technology. So we plan to keep improving and updating the services as we go along.
Okay, great. Thank you very much for your answers. Also, I have another question. Are the videos and photos stored in FASTCAT-Cloud?
Okay, so at the moment we will obviously process such data, and the plan is to provide back the relevant information. So it could be only the images. We would basically tell you, okay, those images amongst all the images you've sent us are the ones that contain a particular type of animal that you're interested in. We can tell you in each of these images where they are. So this is the idea of the bounding box, and we can provide some labels. Same thing with video streams. So it's with video streams, potentially there's a lot of the data that is sort of indicated as not useful compared to single images. And then this information is sent back to you. So the user who has provided data, we assume they still have that data. So what we provide back is information about that data. And at the moment, we're not planning to provide a storing service as well.
And another question: in which formats can I upload photos and video to the FASTCAT-Cloud website?
So we are using the main standards, and we will provide software that assumes main standards, so things like JPEG, MPEG for video, potentially a few of the other image formats like PNG, etc. But if you are using other types of formats that are not directly available under our services, this is something that if we get a lot of demand for particular format beyond those main ones, we might eventually also add those, but otherwise services to transfer between formats exist already.
Also, you also comment that these two services will provide you with counts, for example, the number of species recording or photograph. Is this correct, or what this mean?
Yes, so we counting features will be is one of the features we provide. Yes, so you could have it could be across the data that you provide. We tell you, okay, there's so many frames with this type of animal, and then we can provide you a count. It could be a count of the number of animals. It could be a count of number of frames. It depends what kind of sort of statistics you want to build. You can have images where or frames where you have many animals, multiple instances. So that's also something we can do. So these are counting types of features.
Okay. And also, will these two services connect with biodiversity citizen observatories?
So yes, so that's part of the FASTCAT-Cloud agenda. So we are part of a group of many partners across Europe, and Colombia as well is part of this group, and we connect. So the services that are provided are also connected to that network, and there are different. So there are other kinds of services. I mentioned before plants, for example. So there's some of the partners are specializing in information relevant to plants, so identification of particular examples of plants. So that we want ultimately that all these potentially different services can be related to each other. And there's also the citizen science observatories that are part of the group, and there are others that are outside of our group. So we want also these to be easily connected.
Okay. And last question, you are developing FASTCAT-Edge and FASTCAT-Cloud using the Codesign methodology. Why is it so helpful to you? I mean, why is interesting to develop or to integrate in the development of these services the Codesign methodology?
So in software design, it's always very useful to have two types of inputs, feedback from people outside of the design of the software itself, potential users very early on, the earlier the better. And also it's very useful to have iteration in the design of your software platforms. So the notion of a co-design workshop helps in that process. It brings in these workshops people that are outside of the team that's actually developing the software and the interfaces. So you get those kinds of inputs. It can be potential users. It can be other specialists in this kind of software design. And then there's also the notion of iteration and having inputs early on, so that the software, you can have a prototype. We've already produced some prototypes, but we want to keep working through a set of iteration of these prototypes to keep improving them, basically, by getting more and more inputs and figuring out things that work well and things that maybe don't work so well. So co-design workshop is part of that evolution towards a better service. Okay.
So I think that's all. Thank you very much, Frederic, for your answers and for explaining so well FASTCAT FASTCAT-Cloud and FASTCAT-Edge.